programming before the state meeting, like anywhere
Yeah,
else?
well,
Like,
in the
is they-
gazebo, yeah.
We're going to get started.
We had concerts throughout the summer,
Yeah.
spring, summer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This hearing is called by David Verdacci, Director of Lake County Planning and Community Development. This hearing is being held in accordance with HUD's guidance on development and submission of our annual action plan for the primary purpose of informing the public about funding levels for fiscal year 2026 and informing the public and potential applicants of pertinent regulations and planning process to attain public input and to attain public input. This public hearing is being recorded. This hearing was publicized through a public advertisement on March 6, 2026, and by email through a broad distribution list. Participants wishing to comment or ask questions in this live stream may do so by email to the address david.verdacci, R-A-D-A-C-H-Y, at lakecounty.ohio.gov. Again, it's david.verdacci, R-A-D-A-C-H-Y, at lakecounty.ohio.gov. Staff at Lake County Planning and Community Development Office will present information and is available to field questions on HUD FY26 planning process by email today and through phone and other means during the application period. Rhea Bedden is our Community Development Director, and she's in charge of the Community Development Block Grant. Emily Moran is Home Investment Partnership Program, and Christian Broik, application timeline and process. Participants wishing to comment or ask questions in this live stream may do so by email to this address, david.verdacci@lakecounty.ohio.gov. Audience members wishing to comment on the planning process for FY26 Annual Action Plan are invited to speak at, oh, sorry, I'm going a little fast. So, all right, so I'm going to turn this over to Rhea Bedden.
Thank you.
This time.
So we're currently this will be the 5th year of our 5-year consolidated plan. If anyone's interested in learning some of the past projects that we funded through Community Development Block Grant and through the Home Program, feel free to visit our website, lakecounty.ohio.gov, and click on Planning and Community Development. There are no major changes to the CDBG application this year. There's a few minor changes. We are expecting level funding this year for both CDBG and the Home Program. So for CDBG, that would be approximately $1.3 million, and Home is around $450,000. Our exact allocations have not been announced yet. Eligible applicants for the CDBG grant include units of local government, including villages, municipalities, townships, nonprofit organizations, community development corporations, public housing authorities, and institutions of higher education. CDBG eligible activities include a wide range of things. It's a pretty flexible grant. That includes public improvements, economic development activities, public services, housing activities, acquisition, disposition, and planning activities. And a more detailed list of eligible projects and programs can also be found on our website, and that's also something we'd be happy to discuss with potential applicants. If anyone would like to meet with us or give us a call, we could also discuss individual project ideas. A CDBG funded project must also meet a HUD national objective. This includes benefiting low and moderate income persons, preventing or eliminating blight, or meeting an urgent need. It's a reimbursement grant that provides funding to grant recipients after expenses have been incurred. Grant project activity cannot begin until a subrecipient agreement is in place between the county and the agency or the community. Some ineligible activities for CDBG grant includes improvements to buildings used for the general conduct of government except for ADA type improvements, general government expenses, and political activities. Some generally ineligible activities include purchase of equipment, operating and maintenance costs, new housing construction, and income payments. There's also some cross-cutting regulations that apply to both the CDBG and the home grant. Construction projects are subject to Davis-Bacon federal prevailing wage. So if you're applying for construction, please make sure that all construction estimates include prevailing wage in that cost. Projects are also subject to federal procurement requirements and environmental reviews. All applicants must undertake actions to affirmatively further fair housing, and that is described in both the CDBG and the home application forms. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Emily Moran to discuss more about the home grant.
So the Planning and Community Development Department and the County Commissioners administer home program funding every year. And the purpose of this program is to increase the supply of decent, affordable housing for low-income households by providing funding for a variety of affordable housing activities. Eligible applicants for this funding are public agencies, nonprofit organizations, and CHODOs, which are community housing development organizations. Some eligible activities under the home program are those that produce affordable housing through acquisition of property and or new construction, those that provide tenant-based rental assistance such as assisting with rent or security deposits, homeowner rehabilitation projects, and CHODO operating costs and capacity building activities. It is worth noting that a minimum of 15% of our home allocation is reserved for CHODO activities, and up to 10% is reserved for planning and administrative costs. And under the home regulations, there is also a match requirement. The match is a 1-to-4 ratio, so funded organizations must provide a match that is no less than 25% of the total home funds drawn down for project costs. There is not a match requirement for certain projects, such as the home administrative and planning funds, CHODO operating expenses, CHODO capacity building funds, and CHODO site control, technical assistance, and seed money loans for projects that do not go forward. This year, it's also important to note that there are changes to the home application and its financial forms, and the updated applications can be found on our website. And there is also a new home presentation that can be found on our website, and it's recommended that all applicants view this presentation as it provides an overview of the home program as well as providing additional resources that may help with home applications. For applicants seeking CHODO set-aside funds, it is required that they be certified as a CHODO every year. So the CHODO certification and recertification applications are also found on our website. And now I will pass it off to Christian Blake.
Thanks, Emily. Thank you all for being here. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just going over some brief application and timeline stuff. The applications are going to be available on our website before the end of the day today. We'll be putting them up there. We also have some other forms on the website too, like the block group maps, census tract maps, consolidated plan. And then we also added a section with other forms that you can reference while you fill out the application that are very useful. One of the forms I want to mention is the application review form. It's essentially our rubric we use when evaluating the applications. So that's a very great resource that's on our website. If you guys have any questions while looking at our website and you can't find any of that, just give us a call or send me an email. Be happy to help you. Also, for the CDBG and home programs, we are requiring meetings, consultation meetings with our staff if you didn't carry out a project in FY24 or FY25. So even if you submitted an application and didn't get funded in FY24 or FY25, if you intend to apply this year, you got to meet with us so we can go over eligibility and make sure your project would meet a national objective. So we're planning to do that the week of April 6th through the 10th. So that's not next week, that's the week after. Just email us or give us a call to schedule that. And yeah, that's if you plan to apply again if you didn't get funded in FY24 or FY25. We also, on page 2 of the CDBG application, we have some of the same resource information I just mentioned, so I thought I'd point that out if you want to pay attention to that page. So that's it for the resource information. As far as the timeline goes, public hearing 1, we're holding that today. The grant application consultations, that's going to be, again, that's the week of April 6th through the 10th. Just call us, email me, or Rhea, any of us, to get those scheduled. And that's for both CDBG and home. CDBG and home application due date, that's going to be 4 p.m. May 8th, 2026. We're just doing the same thing we did last year. Submit a physical copy with a digital copy saved on a flash drive. You can bring it here in person. You can put it in the Dropbox out front, or you can mail it, whichever you prefer. And we are located at 105 Main Street, Building B, 4th floor. This is Building A that we're in right now. Preliminary awards, we're tentatively aiming to be announcing those in June. And then public hearing number 2, that's hopefully going to take place in July. And award letters going to be mailed in September. And then the actual FY26 grant period, that begins October 1st, 2026. And we like to know, although the FY26 and every grant year goes from October 1st to September 30th, projects don't start until the subrecipient agreement has been executed. So, you know, a lot of the times the subrecipient agreement doesn't get signed by commissioners and signed by the agencies, by everybody, until, you know, end of December, early January. So, although the grant year starts October 1st, that's normally when projects start. So, yeah, that's it for timeline. I think that sums up everything I have. I'll pass it back to Rhea or Dave. Thank you all for being here again.
I also wanted to mention that we maintain an email group list and we send out email notices. So, for example, we'll send out a reminder for the next public hearing and a reminder for the application due date. So if anyone would like their email address to be added to that list, if you would like to, you know, leave us your email address today, we can make sure that you receive those notifications regarding both the CDBG and the home program grant. And that's all I have.
Once again, if participants watching this wish to comment or ask questions in this live stream meeting may do so by email to the email address david.verdacci@lakecounty.ohio.gov. At this time, audience members wishing to comment on the planning process for FY26 annual action plan are invited to speak at this time, or an agent may speak on their behalf after stating their name, their address in full and clear, distinct voices for the record. The board requests each person only speak once unless adding a statement for the record not previously made. If the first one come up, make sure you please turn on the microphone. There's a button that turns the microphone green.
Hello, so I'm Karen McLeod with Extended Housing, and
Karen, make sure that the microphone's on. Good.
yeah, okay. So can you just explain further about what affirmatively furthering fair housing means? So I know any applicant that receives funding for this needs to do that, and as you know, as a CHODO for Lake County, and we continue to try to develop more housing for the people we serve, and so other municipalities that also receive funding from these funds. To receive that funding, they also need to affirmatively further fair housing. And if they put any obstacles in place of somebody trying to develop that funding, would they be in, I guess, neglect of meeting that? I guess that is my question.
So in both the CDBG and the home application forms, there's a page dedicated to affirmatively furthering for housing, and they each have checklists on what different actions the applicant can take to fulfill those obligations. Affirmatively furthering for housing is further described in our citizen participation plan, which is a policy. It's a commissioner adopted policy that our office has as well. So those details could also be found in there. And then if there's any obstacles or challenges, I could say, in implementing a federally funded project in relation to fair housing, that's something that we would handle on a case-by-case basis for that specific project. So I hope that answers your question. I'd be happy to discuss it further, but we do have some explanation in the actual grant application forms that might be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Additional written comments and questions may be addressed to Mr. David Radachy, R-A-D-A-C-H-Y, Director, Lake County Planning and Community Development Office, 105 Main Street, Suite B 401, Painesville, Ohio, 44077. If there's not any other business for this public hearing, I will declare this public hearing closed.